Hey, Honors Physics, we're going to take a look at what we're going to call box problems, which are really two-dimensional force problems. Sometimes they're in side view or sometimes they're in top view. Those are the two choices, and you have to be able to discern what kind of angle do you understand your physics from. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. This is on 31. And I believe we're looking at a side view because there's a table or a support here, and there's a couple of applied forces. But then there's other forces that are hidden, so to speak, like the normal force and the gravity force. So let's redraw this using proper free body diagram techniques. So let's draw force 2. Force 2 is to the left, but we never draw arrows going into the object. We have them going out. But it's to the left, so it's negative 33 newtons. Force 1 is, by the way, there's actually sort of a very graphical, sort of, not mistake. That does not look like 70 degrees, but 70 degrees basically above the horizon means if you were to go over here, it would be 70 degrees below the horizon. So this is actually more to scale, 70 degrees or negative 70, and the size of that force is 59 newtons. Are there other forces at play? Of course. Let's go and add them. We've got a force of gravity, and then we've got a force normal. And I drew the force normal, a little bit bigger than gravity, because for the very first time, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the components of the 59, right? And there's going to be an x and a y component in there. So let's draw those in. So this 59, this applied force, has an x component that's about that big, right? So this would be force 1, but its x component. And then it would have a force 1 y component, right? Do you see the little right triangle we've made in there? And the angle is 70, if you can keep that. It was just too big before. And what we're going to learn to do to find normal forces and then to find accelerations is we're building a table, but it's really not like projectiles. It's really just about the forces in the x and the forces in the y. And it's a little bit like accounting. It's like you got to keep track of everything you have. Okay, so what do we know? Well, we know that force 1, down here, right, the applied force 1, and then here's applied force 2, and we haven't calculated the force of gravity yet, but that's m times g, or 7 times negative 10 meters per second squared. Of course, you can use 9.8, negative 700 newtons. So it seems like we've got a lot of, resources here, but we need to organize them. So let's kind of go in this order. Let's take the easy ones. Force 2, it's in the x direction. It has no y component. So F2 goes over here, and it's negative 33 newtons. Let's keep going. In the y direction, gravity is clearly negative 700 newtons, right? Now, what other forces do we have? We've got the normal force, but we haven't dealt with these yet. But I bet if we take our time and we remember, we've been taking vectors and dividing them into their components for a long time. So we can do the x component using cosine. So we've got f1x equals cosine of negative 70 times 59 newtons. And f1y would be sine of negative 70 times 59 newtons. Okay, we're going to need to take out our calculator because even though that's an intermediate step, we need that to be able to solve the last force. So let's go and do both of those. Cosine of negative 70 times 59 gives me a x component of positive 20.2 newtons. So that's the kind of the answer to f1x. It's not a final answer. f1y, sine of negative 70 times 59. And you notice it comes out to be a negative component. And if you look at your free body diagram, it's definitely downward. Okay? And then there's one last force. Okay? And that force that we haven't dealt with yet is the normal force. And you may remember about a week ago or a few days ago, I talked about how the normal force should be addressed last. Because what the normal force does, what the normal force does is it balances out the other forces because in a sideways view problem, That box is never going to go vertical. It's not going to go into the table. It's not going to go up or down. So the y forces, the sum of the y's, is always 0. And what you can therefore figure out is that the normal force must be the opposite of the other two, or another way of saying this is Fg plus F1y plus Fn adds up to 0 newtons. And if you plug that in, I've run out of a little bit of space there, but if you plug in your gravity, negative 700, and you add to that, right, the negative 55.44, that comes out to be negative 755, of course, just the sum of those two, 0.44. And the normal force, therefore, has to be positive 755.44. So we've just found our first unknown. And we did it by doing a free body diagram and then really just organizing our forces. We haven't even used Newton's second law yet. And now we're left with the x forces. Well, the sum of the x forces do not add up to 0. This system is going to move left or it's going to move right. This system is going to move left or right because we know that they're unbalanced. Negative 33 is the only is one of the forces, F1x, the other applied force is 20. They add up to m times a. And I seriously have used not enough, space to do this, but we have negative 33, right, plus 20.2 equals a mass of, 7 times a. And it comes out to be a pretty easy problem. Negative 33 plus 20.2. The net force is to the left because the negative 33 is bigger. We divide that by 7, and we should get an A of negative 1.8 meters per second. But you need to tell its direction, and it's to the left. So sorry that got a little cramped down there. Just my stylus is a little bit kind of fat. I need to adjust the setting. Okay, so that's the first kind of problem. Now we're going to, but then on the top of 33, there is a top view problem. And here's how a top view works. Okay, so top view. So if you may remember in the notes, there is another axis. This crate is sitting on the floor. The floor is here, but the floor is also here. See what I'm getting at that? That the floor is basically underneath this entire object. And it's hard to show you, but there would be a z-axis, right, kind of pointing up to the ceiling, right, or towards your face, and then there'd be a gravity force down and in, and those two would be balanced, because assuming the floor doesn't give away, right? So what we know is that the sum of the forces in the z-axis adds up to 0, and they have no bearing on the problem, right? Acknowledge them, and then skip them. And then if you zoom in, now what you have is an x and y axis that's basically parallel to the floor. And what we need to do is do what we just did, but we don't have to factor in gravity and normal. So let's make a forces in our x and let's make forces in our y. Well, let's take a look at this. This is a 25 kilogram mass, 25 kgs, and it has one force that's on the positive x-axis. So that's just a positive 54.0 Newton force, okay? No need to find the component. Now, if you wanted to, you could do cosine of 0 degrees times 54, and you'd prove to yourself that that is 54 newtons. That's if you want to show that you have the same system for every problem solving, okay? Or maybe you were writing software code that had to calculate it, and you had to deal with any angle, okay? So there's one of your forces. What do we do with F1? Well, it's actually a little confusing, but it has its own x component and its own y component. But do you notice what's confusing about it is that it looks like the 54, F2, is the component of the 88, and it is not. So we are not going to mix those. We're going to basically go to F1, and we're going to find its x component, cosine of 55 degrees times 88 newtons, and then the y component, sine of 55 degrees times 88 newtons. Okay, take out your calculator. Let's find those two components. We've got a cosine 55. It's a positive angle. 50.47. Sine of 55 times 88 is 72.09 newtons. And they both came out positive. And if you think about it, you might say, oh, of course. I'm just going to note that's a positive x and that's a positive y. And now here's the first time we've encountered this. Neither of these, neither the x's or the y's add up to 0. So the x's add up to 54 plus 50.47 or 100.47 newtons. And what I just did is I did a sum of my forces in the x. And the sum of the forces in my y is 72.09. We're going to do the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to grab a black pen, and we're going to say, okay, so I have a 100 Newton vector, 0.47, and we're adding it head to tail with a 72.09 Newton vector. And that wasn't visible until we really found their x's and y's. But now that we have the total x and the total y, I bet you remember that the resultant, or the resultant force, is equal to the sum of our x's squared plus the sum of our y forces squared. And then we're going to take the square root of all of that. So we're going to take the square root of 100.4 squared plus 72.09 squared. So how big is that force? It's simply 100.4 squared plus 72.09 squared. Then take the square root of that whole answer. There's many ways to do that on your calculator. But your resultant force is 123.6 newtons. You may get a different answer if you had been using, well, gravity. But in this case, gravity wasn't a factor. So we should all agree on this. And we finish with one final calculation. What is the angle of the final vector? So it should be tan -1 of 72.09 opposite over adjacent 100.4 newtons. This is how we found it with projectiles, but now we're doing it with force vectors. So inverse tan of 72.09, the sum of the y's, divided by 100.4, or 35.7 degrees. So there's our final answer. A little bit longer to explain these guys, but it uses a lot of our old skills. And the only really new skill is to make sure you're organizing your forces based on their directions. You add the x's, separate all the x's, separate all the y's, and do their sum.